jokes.
Welcome to the Regular Joe's podcast. I'm Dave Pisani.
I'm Barry Kay.
And I'm Todd Pleasant.
Now you were a second and a half behind.
Yes.
Now don't worry about any of that stuff, people. We fix it all. We told you this. Don't worry about
post,
anything.
baby.
Yeah. But we heard us last week. You heard us the week before, but all Wonderfest. We're all through our Wonderfest coverage, which was fun. Probably more fun for us than it was for you, but that's fine.
We're back with a regular show, just the three of us. It's been a little while.
Yeah.
Exactly. But you're still feeling the glow of Wonderfest. I know you're working on your skeletons. I am inspired to work on my secret project. I've been finding all the bits and pieces, 3D printing some stuff like that. You can't see that like that.
Oh, that looks good.
We'll get into that.
And Brian shipped the box of models that Todd and I bought back for us, and I just got them the other day, and I'm starting to think about the model I'm working on for Todd. I sent Todd some pictures over the weekend. I was able to sort out a detail he wanted sorted out, which was good. So we're going to have to talk color schemes, Todd, but we'll do that off the air.
Yeah. It comes in an enormous base, and Barry is able to scale that down. So
yeah, he didn't want the big base.
How about the people we're like, oh, if I go next year and I could do what is Bill George doing? This guy's building something that is ILM quality plus. It must take 10 months to make it.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
So
since we're talking Wonderfest, I was going to talk about this in random, but we got a comment on episode 575, which was our Wonderfest episode, from the guy that built the Cygnus model that we were talking about on the show.
We did.
He heard the show and he commented on YouTube. So he said that he appreciated the compliments. It's a 3D printed kit. So he didn't design it, but he bought it as a 3D printed kit.
Oh, okay.
He said that kit started out over 10 years ago and that the kit itself suffers from file corruption and the death of the artist. And then that's the fourth one that he's worked on. And then he said,
"Good podcast." I spoke to him in the hallway,
so.
And he told us some of that. Yeah.
Yep.
As he was waiting,
he's actually.
Did he give you his name, Barry?
I have his YouTube screen name, but I didn't get his actual name.
Oh, okay.
Rocket Guru.
I have his
9298.
It was truly amazing.
Rocket
Guru. It was amazing.
I saw him posting on the RPF. He posted a bunch of pictures. I was just looking at it the other day. He posted a bunch of pictures. I'm trying to look for this. Oh, here it is. Oh, I don't. He's got a different screen name here. So whatever. Look up Cygnus model and Wonderfest, and you'll find it.
It was a fantastic.
He's got a ton of pictures on the RPF for it.
Oh,
yeah,
he found our podcast on YouTube, so I thought I'd mention that he commented.
Yeah, no, that was
great. That's awesome.
Yeah,
that's awesome. Yeah. Let's go some random. What are we doing? We're talking about. Some of us are talking about Ballerina from the universe of John Wick. We're going to talk about some good old action figure stuff and whatever. We'll see. But let's go some random. Todd, what do you got?
Okay, so we have the benefit of knowing, even now, though we have not yet seen the beginning of season 3 of Strange New Worlds. We know there are 26 episodes remaining because they just...
Is Ed still alive? No.
Ed's still alive. There are 26 episodes still remaining because they have now announced that season 5 will be 6 episodes. And season 5 will wrap up.
I knew it was truncated. I didn't know it was 6.
It will wrap up the series.
But based on the current schedule...
Based on a current schedule, that's probably still 4 years away.
Yeah.
But, there's a ton of speculation now about why 6 episodes. Why, when you're working on season 4, do you announce that 5 is going to be the final season, and that it's going to be truncated to 6 episodes? and there's a lot of theories. Mine is that they are going to hand off. That we're going to see that series. We're going to see a handoff to a Kirk and the Enterprise series.
Really?
I really think so. I think that's where they've been going with, sliding Kirk in there for a couple episodes each season, and I think we're going to keep that going. And I think he's being apprenticed, and I think they're going to hand the chair to him in the end of the show, and I think we're going to go very quickly into a early, Star Trek: The Early Years or something like this that takes place prior to where no man has gone before.
But wouldn't that also then have to do with what happens to Pike and the cage and that whole thing?
No, because that's off the ship. That the Pike thing happened off the ship.
I know, but it's just going to be weird.
You're going to see him leave and go off to Starfleet Academy, and that's where his accident happens. So he's going to go knowing that's going to happen. And
you don't think they'll show that to us?
I don't know about that. You don't think they wrap the show up? They literally started with him having that accident. You don't think they wrapped the show up with that accident? I got to believe they
I kind of hope they do.
Or then they got to get away from the ship, and then they got to get further down the timeline. So
but couldn't that also be that's what the 6 episodes are? Maybe the series kind of wraps up with season 4, and season 5 is that arc.
Yeah.
I mean, they made such a big deal of that. The other question is, I don't know what universe this is. We don't really know if it's even a third universe.
They keep saying it's the Prime Universe, but yeah.
Does he avoid that somehow?
So here's my thing. Okay, they've asked me to write a script to wrap the series up. There's a transporter duplicate thing that happens in the last episode. One goes off to Starfleet Academy. The other and his girlfriend go back to ride horses on his ranch in Montana and live happily ever after. So it's kind of a find your fate thing. You choose which path you want to be on.
But in the end, the Kelvin universe, they avoided it.
Yeah, I was kind of wondering if maybe they hadn't maybe they weren't sure if they were going to renew, and they just figured let's just give it a short 5th season just to wrap it.
But 2 years ahead of time, Barry?
I know. Well, it is really odd to announce it this early.
I think it's probably it may be contracts. It may be contracts because they are so late in the game with this season already. But I think it may also be that like I said, I think they're going to try to hand off. This has been the most popular thing they've done, and they know that. They've got a wild card coming up with Starfleet Academy. They'll see, and they're really playing up it's Paul Wesley. That's who the actor is.
Yeah.
That moving in that version of Kirk. Yeah. I think we're going to see an early.
I'm all for that.
Thing. Well, as we record this tonight,
all for it.
I don't mind that.
From the season premiere for season 3, right? It's
17th
of July.
I wouldn't honestly. I would not mind seeing that. I think that could be interesting, and because you get to see the relationship between him and Spock build. They may or may not have McCoy on because McCoy, wasn't in the first pilot.
He wasn't, yeah.
And we'll just have to see. But
it'll be interesting.
But yeah, I don't know.
The thing is, shows don't really. I mean, I guess it's about viewership. It's not about ratings anymore. I mean, every single show on Paramount Plus loses money.
It's about subscriptions.
Right.
That's all it's about.
Yeah, but it's also they're also airing this elsewhere too now, right? Aren't they putting
It's on Netflix in Europe. It's not on Paramount.
They were putting it on the Sci-Fi. on CBS.
CBS,
too.
yeah,
they had it.
That's what I'm saying. So
I don't know. That'll be interesting.
Down the line again. They're gonna wring every dollar out of this they can. But I also think it's hard.
Well, they've been showing Section 31 on Paramount and Showtime too.
Yeah.
I think it's hard to keep an ensemble of actors like this tied up for 7 years. And that's
the problem with streaming. Yeah, you when you see, it's funny. There's 26 episodes left. That used to be a season.
That used to be a season, but also
now it's 5 years worth of episodes.
and that's the thing. It's spread out over the 56 episodes we'll get in total are spread out over 7 years. And 9
that doesn't sustain acters. Yeah.
9
part of that was because they didn't renew it right away, right? Like
I know that. But there were delays, but also 9 if you count from the first time to the end, from the first time we saw Spock and Pike. So it's been
a slow burn from that point of view. You're right.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Anyways, Barry, what do you got?
So on June 12th, so a couple days ago, there was an official Lucasfilm authorized screening of a Technicolor print of the original cut of Star Wars in London at the British Film Institute. They have a first release print that is in the BFI archive since the 90s, and it was in something called the British Rank Film Archive prior to that. It was the original version that was released with the re-release. So it had the A New Hope in the title, but then they also had a separate reel that had the original crawl. So they were able to show it with the original crawl. So it between the version they had and that original reel, it's unedited, unaltered, as it was shown in 77. They did 2 showings, and they had Kathleen Kennedy there to introduce the first showing, and she was saying how thrilled she was. Because apparently Technicolor prints, the way they're produced, they don't fade with age. So it is still vibrant color. There's been no degradation on this thing. Like they're saying it's a miracle print that they found in this archive. And hopefully maybe they'll take that and do something with it, because 50th anniversary is coming up pretty quick.
Yeah, they really should.
I mean,
re-release
part of the reason that they
way,
claimed that they couldn't do something was that they claimed, and I never really believed it, but they've always claimed that they don't have a high-quality master of the original, but now you do, so...
They said that there are no authorized copy, there's nothing in circulation right now that is legit like this. That everything else is unauthorized or reconstructed or whatever. And
they said that there's some scratches in this. It's not perfect, but they could fix that.
This is the only authorized showing of this film. So,
yeah, and what was also interesting,
they'll be able to clean it up.
Yeah, they could fix that and not take away the grain and everything else. They could just fix the whatever little damage there is. The other interesting thing, though, while Kathleen Kennedy was on stage, she mentioned that she's in London because they're doing pre-production on Starfighter, and that starts production in September. So I guess they're filming that in London. So, that's potentially exciting news if they decide to do something. At least they know they've got a great source.
But they have to release it for the 50th anniversary.
I hope so.
I mean, they have to.
Why? It's a license to print money for them. Why wouldn't they, right?
That's the new thing. The Raiders, I think, was in or not Raiders.
Last Crusade.
The last one.
Last Crusade.
Last Crusade was in theaters again. I think Jaws is coming back. That leads into... So this week, or as you listen to this Thursday, I think, the 20th is the 50th anniversary of Jaws. There's a bunch of stuff going on with it. There's... I think they'll re-release it. It's funny, I was going through... As I'm looking for random topics, here's all the stuff that's coming out for Jaws. So all these companies are coming out with merchandise, including Vineyard Vines. Now, Jaws was shot on Martha's Vineyard. Vineyard Vines, high, expensive casual clothing company, is founded on Martha's Vineyard. They're putting a bunch of Jaws stuff out. I just ordered one. There's this Jaws... Vineyard Vines whale logo with the boat and Jaws coming up in the thing. I'm like, I happen to like their stuff. I don't really like the preppiness of it, but I like the way their clothes, the way they make it. It's very their quarter zips and all that stuff are good. So I ordered that.
A Vineyard Vines tie.
That is correct.
Yeah, you did.
Yes, the official tie of where you work. But so there's a bunch of different stuff coming out. So I haven't seen all the way through in quite a while.
So Jaws was on AMC last weekend, and Maria and I had it on AMC, and I looked at her and I said, we're going to watch the rest of this? She says, yeah. I said, this is stupid. I got the 4K Blu-ray out of the basement, and I put it in, and we queued it up, and we watched the rest of the movie.
Well done, Barry. Well done.
Thank you.
Yeah. I don't think I only have it on DVD, I think.
I got the 4K Blu-ray on Amazon for like under $20. And it's beautiful. Yeah. It's beautiful.
Because now I guess it hasn't been streaming previously. Now it's streaming, of course, on crappy Peacock.
Yeah.
Which I don't want to subscribe to.
Me either.
I
have enough streaming
I'll
services.
just soon buy the Blu-ray, or I'll watch. That was the very first DVD I bought when I got a DVD player. So
I don't know if it's still cheap, but like I said, I got it. It was under $20 on 4K.
Yeah, but I'll watch it again. You see, they're doing these. Have you seen the screenings? They're doing screenings in the water, and people are in their boats watching it. I've seen a couple people doing outside screenings. I'll watch it in the pool.
$16.99, Dave, on Amazon. $16.99.
Really?
Yes.
I may buy that. So that's what I got. Barry, you had something else?
Yeah, and it's funny because it dovetails into what you were just saying about looking for, topics to discuss. I just wanted to make the comment that the proliferation of AI has made it really hard to find legitimate stories for us to discuss in random topics. Everything I see, I have to fact check, and it's 99% of it is bullshit. So just wanted to throw that out there. It's like we're now combing through a lot of nonsense stories just to try to find something that's interesting and real.
Did you say $16.99? I said $20.99.
I'll send you the link.
Send me the link. Yeah, we often shop while we're
some of us more
while
than
we're
others.
Doing the show.
If I'm quiet for a long period of time, I'm buying something.
Yeah, we know that.
Well, they don't necessarily know that. So
interesting.
Now they know.
I see a 4K $20, $20.99. That's interesting. If you got a different link. It's funny talking about movies. We're talking about movies. So, How to Train Your Dragon did 84 million domestic this weekend. I think almost 200 international, which isn't earth-shattering, but I'm curious, does someone like Marvel say, look at Lilo and Stitch, look at How to Train, and they're like, we got to now start gearing Marvel movies just for kids?
Disney's definitely got to be thinking that where their money's got to go, because I went to the movies at 3:00 this afternoon, and I saw Ballerina, so we could talk about this tonight. I and two other people were in my theater. Okay, there had to be 85 people, including a bunch of children, in the How to Train Your Dragon thing at 3:00 in the afternoon on a Monday, and it's that is where the market is. I mean, if you're going to the movies, apparently that's what you're doing. You're taking your kids, and something's got to break the cycle. It could be one of the two films this summer, but.
Yeah. My kids liked How to Train Your Dragon when it came out animated, and I mean they're all older now, but none of them have had any desire to go see this version. I guess it's just, and I had the fortune of meeting the director and some of his crew. They were mixing the movie, and I met them, and they all seemed like super nice guys, and happy for them. Great that their movie's making a lot of money. I don't personally understand, and it's been a hit or miss. This whole take an animated thing and make a live action version. Some of them do really well, but there have been a few that have not done well.
I'm curious if I would like. I didn't like a ton of animated stuff, as we all know. Even stuff Mark watched. I watched it with him, but I did like How to Train Your Dragon. I don't think I'd go to the movies to see it, but I would watch.
And that's when I first saw this thing where they were doing the live action remakes, I thought they were trying to tap into the nostalgia for the more grown up people who had seen it as a younger person. It's people with kids. It's the theater's full of people with kids.
Well, and school's out now, and this is where what people do. They take their kids to kids movies, but
I don't think school's out yet, unfortunately.
Yeah. But when you think about this,
if their kids there on a Monday, where aren't they? He must be out of school.
It's a school trip.
So think of the economics of this, though. Okay, you own the property. You're adapting a script that you've already made. Okay, it's and it's a property that's no, but I'm saying it's a property that's already.
I think that movie's very expensive.
Built-in IP
still.
value. It's got name recognition. It's like I don't see how they don't greenlight stuff.
Well,
like
they
this.
also just built a theme park part of that new Epic Adventure
but what I'm saying
theme park is How to Train Your Dragon themed.
Yes, true.
The Lilo and Stitch thing.
I think Lilo and Stitch is where the more the money is, because that did better. I don't think kids want to see live action, or at least parents don't think kids want to see live action, even if they like the movie. I mean, Lilo, I don't know anything about the movie. Lilo and Stitch have been around forever in doing other crap.
For a while, yeah.
And here's that movie's doing better than anything.
Yeah.
So an fully animated movie is probably cheaper than certainly this thing.
This is $165 million budget.
Yeah, I can't imagine Lilo and Stitch
I don't know that a fully animated movie is cheaper. Is that? I mean, when you think about, none of these things are being cast with big actors. Let's see. It's interesting though.
But $169 million budget, $165 million budget, and it's already made almost $200 million, and it's in its first weekend.
Yeah,
it's gonna be profitable.
Lilo and Stitch started in. Someone asked, you looked at stupid Google. Are Lilo and Stitch autistic? That's comes up.
Oh, I know.
Top of Google.
Things, it's
what?
It's
Okay, the new Lilo and Stitch budget was $100 million. That's cheap.
It is cheap.
And so far it's made $858 million.
And at least $5 million of that was to pay The Rock, right? I mean,
was he in it? I don't know anything about that.
Yeah, but I'm saying. But
anyway, these animated things.
Yeah.
We may see. Let's just do animated Captain America and release it in the theaters, and just forget all this other crap.
But my favorite animated movies are Pixar movies, and I don't want to ever see a Pixar movie turned into live action. Sorry, live action Toy Story.
Not looking forward to Toy Story live action.
No, or the Incredibles live action. I don't want to see that.
Well, we're getting the Incredibles live action in a month or so.
Yeah, I know. Fantastic
Four. I think the Fantastic Four stole the idea from the Incredibles.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, that's how that worked. So.
Any other random? You had 2 comments, Barry?
No, I've made them both.
All right. If your doctor's too old and he's not doing the right thing, get a new doctor.
Yes.
No one gets a new doctor anymore. Do that. We just talked. That was pre-show gold, but people tend to stick with their doctor. If you were more than likely to get a new car mechanic, if you're not happy with your mechanic, then you would a new doctor. Do yourself a favor.
And that's The More You Know, brought to you by the Regular Joe's Podcast.
That's the more you know. And knowing is half the battle.
This is true.
You know
who knows good
something
stuff?
About fanboy collectibles.
You know who knows trustworthy and that you don't need to replace?
You don't need to replace your toy store. Fanboy Collectibles. Speaking of Star Trek, X06 Pike up for pre-order, or it's in stock.
The Cage Pike. Yeah.
Cage Pike.
Yep. Yeah, the Cage Pike, not the new Pike. Or the other Pike. The original Pike. Yeah.
The blinking light chair Pike.
Or the alternate timeline Pike.
Yeah, none of those. But so that actually looked great. Hono Toys Magneto. Hono Toys is making some nice stuff.
They are making some cool comic accurate stuff, and this is really good looking. You know, it's funny. So in the pictures for this, they have him with the Wolverine figure that came out recently, and I was like, I have that Wolverine on order. No, it's sitting in the corner.
Oh, see.
I have to take that.
See, you're always such good stuff to buy. You don't even know what you bought.
And that's what it is.
There's Pops and Sideshow and Hot Toys and
Hot Toys Revenge of the Sith Sicey Tin Jedi figure on pre-order.
I didn't know how to pronounce that, so I didn't.
That's why I figured I'd take that one for you. Sicey Tin.
Thank you for that. But anything you need, you check those guys out. Scroll through the website. There's pages and pages, not just what's on the front page. Do a search. They got stuff from, years ago. They got brand new stuff. fanboycollectibles.com. Check out their store in Newtown, Connecticut. Troy will talk to you. He'll help you find what you're looking for, and tell him the regular Joe sent you. So, there you go.
Okay.
And
we're clear
Dave.
of the ad?
Oh, go ahead. Yes.
Yeah, sorry.
I was going to do the second ad because, we
we
now
should
have
do
two
the
sponsors.
Yep.
Dave, tell us what's going on, if you can tell us what's going on over at From Dave's Workshop. Any new cool projects?
I probably can't tell you what's going on. I only, not that anyone says. So I just finished this Superman crystal that I don't think I actually talked about, but I did get permission. So check out my From Dave's Workshop Instagram and check Facebook. I did finish this super large display for an original crystal from 1978 Superman. That was a lot of fun. Long process to build it. But it was a lot of fun, and
we were just talking about it before we
and
started recording, and I'll say it on the air. It's a beautiful display that you made for that client. Really, really cool.
Thank you. It lights up, and it's a 25 inches tall by about 10 by 10. That was a lot of fun. So that was a good project. And then I got a couple of things as I'm allowed to talk about them. I told you I'm working on a Titanic vest display that's coming along nicely. It's all hand-stained oak to match the stairwell in the movie where, Leo and Kate meet up several times. I was trying to match that color, so I'm working on that this week. And some other stuff. So if you guys need a display or plaques, one of my good plaque guys is going to be working on a bunch of plaques this week. If you need any of that, laser cut plaques, check it out from davesworkshop.com. I got that right. Todd, what were you going to say?
Okay, I was going to say, now we're outside of the ad, but now we're outside of both ads. I was just invoiced for my X06 Cage Spock, which I pre-ordered. Thank you, Barry, for giving me a heads up when that came up because those sold out quick. Including my $17.50 surcharge charge. Gotta love that. But they are shipping again. And they kind of they stopped. They halted things. And I just thought it was a good point to talk a little bit about some of the stuff they're doing. But one of which obviously is the Pike figure that you can pre-order. But because they were backed up, in Q3 of this year, they're actually shipping Star Trek 6 Chang, Star Trek 6 Valeris, Star Trek 6 Captain Sulu, Strange New World Brad Boimer, and Strange New World Beckett Mariner. So if you pre-order those things,
they're all going to hit at once.
Prepare to open your wallet in a big way for those 5 figures that are coming out in the next month, couple of months, anyways. So, but as I'm thinking about this, so we're a few years into this, and they've done some great figures. I counted it out with when Spock arrives in a few weeks, I'll have 13 of them, not counting the ones from the previous company. They haven't been necessarily the figures that we've expected, which was kind of interesting because they've our theory has been that they're trying not to burn up all the good stuff right up front. But what I guess the question I posed to you guys was, if you were based on not what you want next, because do we all agree that what we want next is Wrath of Khan, Kirk and Spock? I think that's
high.
Well, I
up
want
there.
that is
Wrath of Khan, Kirk and Spock, and Khan. I want all 3 of them.
Yes, Khan.
It's interesting the fact that they have. So I think a big missing hole in the whole collecting universe of whoever used to do figures, even other companies. No one's ever done the Monster Maroon, sort of the Wrath of Khan through Undiscovered Country uniform. The only 2 figures they've done with that uniform are Christy Alley and Kim Cattrall, Savage
and Sulu
and
now
Valeria.
Sulu.
And Sulu. But
yet
not
the 3 that they teased first are still not announced.
Right.
It's mind-boggling.
And they keep showing
I
them,
watched
so we know they're doing them. They keep
just
showing them at
keep-
conventions.
Yep.
And they did Kirstie Alley in the freaking away mission jacket, which is like a huge. No one's ever done that before.
Yeah.
So it's just an odd thing.
It is really odd. I mean, and part of this is what as they've explained, they're interspacing low production things with high production things, so that they can crank out, the ones that are going to sell fewer, the Rolarins that they're not going to sell as many of. They work those in while they're doing, another larger selling one.
Well, and
then
it
why
makes
are they?
sense.
Then why have?
It makes sense that if they did all the key characters first and then went to the esoteric characters later, then the whole line would just trail off. So I get why they're doing
I don't
it.
feel like they're mixing. I don't think they're doing is enough key characters. I love what they're doing.
Think of it. We got 2 Picards. We've got 2 Datas so far.
The whole crew of Voyager.
That was interesting that they went there
that
first.
doesn't make sense. Maybe the guy loves Voyager.
And we get Beverly Crusher before we get Riker.
Exactly. And Riker was supposed to be in like second quarter of 2022 or something like that. So anyways,
Worf, but there's no Worf.
There's no Worf, and they've previewed 2 versions of Worf. They previewed Worf in the spacesuit from First Contact,
which is awesome,
and then Picard Worf, which is not the Worf that we're excited for.
No.
He's appeared in more episodes than any other character. We should have had at least one of him by now when we've had, like I said, 2 Datas and 2 Picards. It's just it's interesting. Very, very but so anyway, so what I posed to you guys was come up with 3 figures that you think they would be likely to produce. And again, this is not necessarily the figures that you most want, but based on the eclectic nature of what they produced, okay, come up with 3 figures that you think you would see. And I did this, and 2 of my 3 I would probably buy. But Dave, what did you come up with?
Oh, I don't know if I did it that way. I don't have a clue what they're going to do.
Okay.
To be honest with you, because they're all over. We've almost got everyone from Strange New Worlds either out or announced, and everyone from Voyager. Those are the only things we're really
and they've
on.
gone into Deep Space Nine, right? We've got Cisco, we've got
there's Cisco,
Neelix, we've got
who else?
Quark.
Neelix is on Voyager.
Oh,
we've got Quark and
Cisco, Kira, Quark,
right?
Cisco, Kira, Quark.
Oh, and they did. Did they release him, or did we only see Odo?
I don't remember.
I think we've seen Odo, and we've seen the Doctor, and we've seen Miles O'Brien, but they haven't released those.
But they haven't released them.
So
the Doctor's on Voyager.
No,
but the other.
Oh, Dr. Bashir. Well, in that vein, maybe they're going to crank out the rest of Deep Space Nine like they did Voyager.
I think that's what's going to happen. I think we're going to get the whole DS9 crew before we get and I think we're going to get they're going to keep dropping one Next Generation character as they fill out these things, and then we're going to get. But I think we're going to get the whole Strange New World crew before we see a whole other ship.
So or since Dave didn't play by the rules.
No, I did, but I do think they're going to go through the gamut of Deep Space Nine, and it also is I want a Dax, even if it's standard duty uniform Dax.
I agree. I would too. So
and
Dave,
I would then sew my own.
Do you have 3 that you?
Oh, 3? No, I don't have Dax and Worf. I mean, there needs some incarnation of Worf, and even if it's a Deep Space Nine Worf.
Barry, what do you got?
I follow the rules. I have a few things.
Thank you, Barry.
You're welcome. So, and some of these are both things I'd like to see and things that I think they'll do, and some of them are just things I think they'll do, and I probably wouldn't buy. So they've done a mirror universe Sulu and Spock.
Yep.
And I know they'll eventually do a Kirk, but I think they might do a Marlena Moreau.
I considered that. Yep.
Yeah, from Mirror Universe. I could see that.
It would make sense.
So that when they finally give you Kirk, you've got the 4 of them.
What about Uhura? There's no Uhura.
Still
no Uhura. Yep.
I've got what I really want for myself is Sulu, Chekhov, and Uhura from the original series to go with the Kirk, Spock, McCoy, and Scotty that I have.
Yeah.
But I think they will do those eventually, but I don't think they're in any rush to do those.
Yeah.
I'd like to see, and I would buy, a Mark Leonard Balance of Terror Klingon Romulan commander.
Me too. Yep.
And that's one I could see them doing from TOS.
Oh, I think we'll see that.
Not a main guy.
I do think we'll see that.
How about that hot Romulan lady?
The Romulan commander, yes. But I think we're going to see because Balance of Terror has every year it kind of creeps up in the best of episodes kind of thing. It's appreciated more than it ever was, and I do think we're going to see that, and I think he's. So
I've got one that could go ahead. No, finish your thought.
No, you go ahead, Barry.
I was going to say I could see this either being sold as separate figures or maybe even as a 2-pack. I could see them doing the Dora sisters, Lursa and B'Etor from Next Generation. I
considered that also, and that falls right. Look. They've made three. They've made
a bunch of Klingons.
3 Klingons and 1 half Klingon. So, but no Worf. Okay, figure that out. So,
I do have Dax in the Klingon uniform as my want list.
Okay.
Whether they'll make
Wait
it
a
or
minute.
not.
Dax in the Klingon uniform versus Dax in the TOS uniform.
No. That I want for sure.
Okay, yeah.
But I have all 3 of them.
Okay, that's.
I wouldn't
3.
mind
I like
Dax
that.
and Worf in their wedding outfits.
Okay. So
I'd also like to see TOS core, the Klingon from TOS.
Yep.
And I could see them maybe doing it because they've done the Klingons from Next Gen with the turtle heads, but they haven't done a TOS Klingon.
Yep.
They even did an Andorian, didn't they?
They did an Andorian from Generations. From
Strange New
Enterprise.
Worlds. Oh, Enterprise. You're right. It was Enterprise.
Enterprise, yes.
Yeah.
Which actually means they've got 4 from Enterprise too. There are 4 Enterprise figures now. 5.
Yeah.
4.
4
Enterprise.
Hoshi.
Yeah, 4.
Archer,
T'Pol, and Shran. So
they're just all over. I feel like they just throw a dartboard at names and just
these are my 3, and I think these are all possible given what they've again their eclectic nature. From TNG, Tasha Yar.
Totally.
So a first season Tasha Yar, or only season Tasha Yar, really as Tasha Yar. Kelvin Timeline, Ambassador Spock. Okay, all the Spocks have done well.
They love
this
Spock.
Would be this would be the bookend Spock. This would be basically the last time we see Spock, and I thought about reunification Spock, but I think this makes more sense. And then the last one, this is my big wild card. But if they're talking about Trelane and they're talking about the Gorn, okay, Gary Mitchell from Where No Man Has Gone Before, with an alternate head with the silver
Light
eyes.
up eyes.
Yeah.
Light up eyes.
How cool would that be? So,
that would be cool.
I mean, that's
I wouldn't
deep,
buy it, but it would be cool.
Oh, I wouldn't either. That's the one of the 3 I wouldn't buy, but I could totally see them doing that because they've already got the uniforms now. So
the other one that is a wild card for me, and I probably if they give me the rest of the TOS bridge crew, I would probably buy a Janice Rand also if they did a Janice Rand.
I agree with that too.
That's I had as something that I could see them doing is the Tholian Web spacesuit.
That'd be cool.
That would be interesting.
You could do Kirk and Spock that way.
Yeah. Yep. Oh, that is interesting because you could do it with 2 heads.
All you really need is they're not going to do that. They're going to sell them both. But yeah, you just really need it's once you make that, you could sell 2 different same bodies with 2 different heads.
They've
got
a lot of opportunities. I mean, and I would still love to just give me the rest of the bridge crew. I mean, it all started back with the other company, and it's been years now. And their quality is even better than the other company's was. But
the other company short ran 2 of the last 2 figures, both Sulu and Scotty.
I never got Sulu.
I never got Scotty. So I had an order. I got my money back.
And I got Scotty, but I never was able to get Sulu.
Yeah. So, anyways, but we'll see. And again, I'm very pleased with what I've got. I really enjoy every one of these figures. I have way more than I thought I was going to have, and I'm going to keep buying more. The quality in these is great, and each one gets a little bit better. Super pleased with them, but it is a wild card thing. You don't know what you're going to get.
And they've been good at keeping the costs relatively low compared to what you're getting. And sometimes they're more expensive because they're short running them, which makes them more expensive to produce. But also I think that their prices have been fair.
The most Krug is the most expensive one that I've had so far, and that's a really impressive figure with a lot of detail.
Yeah,
and it's there's very little soft goods in that because so much is molded in the suit and stuff like that, and that you can see that there. The other thing too, last thing with these things is, if you have an inclination that you want one of these, pre-order it, because especially the more obscure characters, but they vanish from the market almost immediately.
Yeah, big time.
And I ran into 7 of 9 at the show we were just at, and it was great. I paid basically retail price for it, but they're selling for 2 and 3 times retail. So if you want one, if your impulse is to get it, buy it, and if you change your mind, you'll get your money back in most cases. So
yeah,
good stuff.
They're great.
So
yeah, they do a good job.
Yep.
It's just, I'm fine with them putting out obscure things, but it should be like, I don't think we've gotten anything. We haven't gotten a Kirk and Spock other than old Spock in a long time.
Yeah, well, the motion picture, those limited edition
some people
motion
claim
picture
to like the motion
ones.
picture, so they're pleased.
That
with
was like 2 years ago.
I love those figures. I'm so happy with those 2 figures. Although
I
I
think
was
they're
not
great.
happy with the
I'd love to
McCoy
see
at all. I didn't buy them.
No,
which also is sold out and is selling for bonus money right now.
Really?
So,
Yeah. No,
I'd like to see
McCoy
them
is
in the gray uniforms, the gray duty uniforms would be cool. But
Ilea
anyway.
would be cool.
Ilea
That would be great to go
cool.
with the Kirk and the Spock. Yeah.
The little light up thing.
Yeah, that would be very cool.
That'd be cool. Anyway, we'll see. Okay, so Todd most recently and I saw Ballerina. Barry didn't. We'll try not to spoil it. Not that there's.
I'm okay. I'll watch it when I get a chance to watch it. If you spoil it, this is not going to ruin my life.
I don't know. She didn't die at the end.
Okay,
There's the
Barry,
spoiler.
So we're going to cut the chase. A lot of people get shot, and we're sorry to break that to you, but
A lot of people get stabbed. A lot of people get burnt
And
up.
some people get
will say,
flamethrowed, right? That's what
I
I'm
will
excited
say
about.
One thing with this film versus was there 7 John Wick films?
4.
It feels like 7. There's some very creative ways of killing people in this film, whereas John Wick really tends to shoot people and then and things like very obvious things like here were there was some extended work with ice skates in here that was pretty amazing. So
what I appreciate, I mean, I enjoyed it. Anytime it's a good shoot 'em up, I like it. But to me, we've had 4 John Wicks. He's done a lot of stuff. He's killed a lot of people, and it's like, how often do you how do you find different? I think they did a good job of taking this out of. Basically most John Wicks were in some kind of city. Yeah. Whether it's Paris, New York, what have you. This was in this remote village.
Kind of an alpine village. Yep.
Yeah, alpine village. So the setting was completely different. And they really came up with new way. I mean, spoilers, but she used this flamethrower that is almost like...
Okay.
It's almost like a flamethrower shotgun.
You thought that, when from the commercials, you thought there was going to be, one... quick use of a flamethrower kind of thing. This was a protracted battle between 2 people with flamethrowers, which is something I have never seen. And
and they didn't just shoot like this continuous flame. It was almost like this burst of flame, which made it so much more interesting.
Oh, that's cool.
So they did find new ways to do stuff, which was good.
I thought it was cleverly done. I thought one of the things that I give it the most points were, it's not a spoiler, we know John Wick is in this, how they wove him into it, how they wove her into his story, his earlier story, and how they used him and did not overuse him. I think he was used to very good success. I think it was necessary having that kind of. If they'd only had that early interaction, that was the only time you saw him.
I think the director didn't want to have him, but then they decided let's use him very sparingly.
And it was the way it was used and the way he impacted the conclusion was worked for this story very, very well. There was a kind of like a 2-layer story going on, and she wasn't completely in the loop on the whole thing. So, she had her own.
And the she
agenda,
you mentioned is Ana de Armas, which is also
Ana de Armas. Yeah,
nice,
we totally buried the lead.
Nice attraction.
Here's a movie with Ana de Armas shooting, stabbing, flamethrowing people. That alone gets you in the
falling
theater,
off a lot of things. I got to say, it bothers me a little more to see her get the hell beat out of her than it does John Wick.
Oh my God, yeah.
But she just keeps going. Like him, stab wounds you kind of get over immediately.
Well, they're trained for that. There was a lot of nice world building. They've done this. They've really made, from the first one, you almost saw very little of it. Now there's this whole process of World of Assassins and where they come from and how they're developed.
And that there's competing worlds, and you get to see kind of the Red Room thing that she's and she's involved in, and also the whole Continental thing was woven in, I think, well and appropriately.
Yeah, they're definitely. It feels like another chapter in this John Wick saga. I'm sure we'll probably see more of her doing this. I don't know what it did box office wise. It did okay, I guess. But it's fun. It was a fun movie. She was very good in it. We saw her play similar things in James Bond, and she was in a couple other movies. Sort of, she tends to play these sort of spy type people.
She
so
was in the Gray Man thing.
Gray Man. Yes, she was in Gray Man, and then she was in that other thing.
Right.
With Chris Evans. Maybe?
Yeah.
Yeah,
similarly great thing.
She's good. Not easy to do.
She's very physical. She does a great job.
No, she's good. She's good in these action roles. I mean, beyond the fact that she's attractive, she's good in these roles.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to seeing it. As you know, I have house guests. I haven't been able to get out.
It's a fun time. Yeah, it's a fun time. I enjoy it.
I need to ask: did they raise Lance Reddick from the dead? I mean, he's been dead for 2 years.
They filmed this a long time ago.
My God.
Remember?
And it's like...
This thing's been delayed like 3 times.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah, I think that's his last role.
Which is sad. It's very sad. But I did not expect to see as much of him in this as there was. Yeah, he died over 2 years ago. So
it's
she
fun.
was also in Knives Out. I forgot she was in
it.
Knives Out. Also, she was in The Night Clerk.
Yeah,
that is kind of what they consider to be kind of her breakout film. That's she did a bunch of random things before that, but she got the most attention for that.
I don't remember seeing her before Blade Runner 2049. That was kind of where I first saw her.
Right, but it's a smaller part in that.
Yeah.
And
she looks different in everything too.
She is good in everything. And I got to say, this is not an easy thing to do. I mean, obviously there's a lot of stunt people involved and stuff like that. But
there's the training. I saw some of the training. Yeah. It's a lot.
Now, if you would like a souvenir from this film. Okay, I don't know what they did for popcorn buckets, but Terran Tactical will sell you an exact copy of her firearm for for $5,400.
Yeah.
So
They're very Taran Tacticals, this company that there's these professional competition shooters. Taran Butler was this guy,
yeah.
who, amongst a bunch of other people, who were doing, but he turned this into a company. He's got like there's logos and stuff in the
the only two
movie
firearms that they identify by name are customized by him, and he's name dropped.
Pit Viper, yeah,
and it's name dropped both times. That was a little gratuitous, but he's involved in the training for these films and the technical stuff for these films. So I think that's part of his compensation. But I will say I do object to using a $4,000 shotgun to brace a door. I just that really got me. But yeah, it's don't expect more than you should from these films, because they're like very much like a John Wick film, but it's like I said, I think it was done well, and we'll see how it does. I'm sure this is going to have a much stronger life on whatever streaming channel it lands on than it will in the theater, because
Paramount Plus. I'm sure
yeah,
it's a Paramount movie.
But,
yeah, it's fun.
Yep.
It's fun as much as people getting shot is, and some of us enjoy that.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I'm just sitting there laughing, and Pam's like, she's like, really?
Oh, Pam went to see it with you. Wow,
Really?
Maria wouldn't go see it.
Oh yeah, she likes it. She enjoys it.
I don't think I can convince Maria to go
she's
see
like,
that
that's
movie
crazy.
with me.
I will
no,
say,
she likes
I
action.
think they got into blood spray a lot more in this film than they have in some of the previous. Did you notice that there were just a ton of like headshots where there's just a red cloud? And I don't remember seeing that.
I don't even. There's no. To me, there's almost no gore in this.
And that's what I'm
at
saying.
all.
But it's in the John Wick films, people tend to get shot multiple times and they fall away. In here, she did a lot of head shooting, and you saw a lot of like
I guess I'm kind of immune to it.
It's a different style. It's a little different style to it, but maybe more ballet.
And these films, one of the things with these films, they used no real firearms. And this guy has come out, with that whole Rust trial. He's like, there are ways to make movies you don't need. It's all airsoft, or some kind of thing like that. They do it all in post, and it's complete. It's very safe. So, Flamethrowers, on the other hand, those are probably real. I'm not sure about that. I don't really know, but yeah, it's fun. Okay, let's do a quick what's in the box.
Show you with the box. Who's in the box? What's in the box? What's in the box?
Regular Joe's What's in the Box.
Barry, what's in the box?
Okay, I have something that I originally pre-ordered, and then it was a Target exclusive in the U.S., and then Target canceled everybody's pre-orders, so everybody was out of luck. And then slowly but surely they started popping up here or there. This is the new Star Wars retro figure 6-pack. But the cool thing about this is, other than one character, they're all figures that were never made in the vintage Hasbro Kenner toy line.
That's cool.
So you got Dr. Evazan, Han Solo in a Stormtrooper costume, Luke Skywalker with his ceremonial jacket and medal, the Rebel Fleet Trooper, and a Sand Trooper. And then there's a Walrus Man thrown in there, which is just a straight-up reproduction. But these were canceled, and then they became, like, impossible to get. For the last month, people have been going nuts trying to track them down. And then, like, I was up one morning at 5 a.m., and I looked on the Target app, and it was available for shipping, so I bought it. Then it was gone
As one
again.
does. Yeah.
As one does. But it was forcing, like...
Wait, they didn't make any of those originally?
No, none of those characters were ever made except for Walrus Man.
Other Walrus Man. Yeah.
Oh, I actually want the Rebel Trooper to stand on my Rebel Trooper vest display.
Yeah, well,
so they didn't make that.
No, but we might be able to get
Not
you
to
one.
buy that.
But so where I was leading to was, as of today, as we record this, they are now available to just order on the Target website and they'll ship it to you. But for the last month, people have been going nuts. Bottom line, this I think got
eBay
caught
prices.
up. I think this got caught off in tariffs, and Target didn't know if they'd be able to get them or not get them, and they just canceled everybody's pre-order. Because I had pre-ordered this like 9 months ago or whatever it was.
What's the set sell for?
$60.
Oh, that's not bad.
No, it's affordable, and And they're cool figures because they're 5 points of articulation. They look just like they would have made them back in the 70s or 80s, but they're characters they never did. So that's what I really wanted to see out of this line was, great, you can reproduce a figure fine for people that don't have it, but I want characters you didn't do. And them to put 5 of them in one box.
I'll split the pack with you. You can use the Rebel figure with your thing, and I'll use the Luke ceremony figure for the Medal of Yavin that I picked up at a bargain price after the auction.
Nice.
So, yeah.
Fair enough.
There you go. Anyway, Dave,
do that.
What's in the box?
I got this for Father's Day, or these for Father's Day. Mark got me the little golden books I have the alien one.
Yep.
But he got me Planet of the Apes. He got me a Star Trek Alphabet one, a Trouble with Tribbles Star Trek, and then all the Star Wars. Not Last Jedi, though.
Oh, that's really cool.
Regular Star Wars, Empire, Return of the Jedi, The Phantom Menace, Attack of the Clones, which is different, and Revenge of the Sith.
Nice.
So, yeah, I haven't read them yet, but I think these are great. If you haven't,
they're cute.
They're not
the covers are great.
They're really cool. Yeah, the artwork is great. The Planet of the Apes one is just awesome.
That is great.
Yeah. So I look forward to.
Can you just go to the last page of the Planet of the Apes one and just read what happens?
Let's see.
At the
tell us if they spoil it or not.
Does it say "darn dirty apes"? Or is it?
No. There's no talking. There's just a little narration that tells you what's going on.
You blew it all to hell.
Yeah.
God damn you!
None of that.
Maybe they say heck instead.
There's no talking in any of this. It's all description.
Oh, interesting.
Probably for the best.
I think maybe they're all like that.
And then he encountered a scantily clad woman named Nova.
Nova.
Yeah, how does Nova look in this?
Well, while you look at how Nova looks, why don't you toss it to Todd?
Todd, Nova's got a little bit longer skirt than she did in the movie.
It's a loincloth in the movie.
He's topless. Anyway.
He is topless, yes.
Todd, what do you got?
Okay, so shockingly, EX06 if you're spelling it, 7 of 9, which I missed out on. I should have pre-ordered and I did not. But she's really good, and she has that very unrealistic figure that Jerry Ryan actually had during that time. She's shaped strangely like a Barbie doll, and if you put her next to Catherine Janeway, she is perfectly proportioned. She's taller, and she's
Oh, really?
Yeah,
that's cool.
They actually look pretty good together, and comes with the usual gajillion hands, a dolphin phaser, a tricorder, and things like that, and
in typical fashion, they chose not to do the silver suit that everybody expected. They did the red suit.
Everybody, this is the one that got the most airtime, and I think this probably makes sense. I would have preferred the silver suit myself, but yeah, this was it's one of the costumes that they sewed her into. So it's but cool. It's very good. I will say the interesting thing is I've got, I think, 3 or 4 female figures now. 5 female figures. They all have different bodies. They are all different. The body types are all subtly different. So they're doing a good job with that. They're not just like popping a female head on the same body.
Yeah,
so,
these guys aren't messing around with that. Even the male figures, they proportion them all differently.
And when you notice it more with the female figures, but when you put them in order, you put them side by side, they are the appropriate heights for each other. And so.
That's cool.
Very, very
good. Ty, you had a last thought or something?
Yes. So, last thought. An actor passed away last week. His name is Harris Yulin. Okay? Most people don't know who this is. Okay? And he's one of those actors who's been in everything. And you've seen him in everything. He was in both Ghostbusters films. He was in probably what was the best episode of Deep Space Nine in the first season, Duet. And he played a Cardassian war criminal, possibly. He was also Buddy in with in Ozark, the old guy that owned the house.
In what show?
In Ozark.
Oh, Ozark. Oh, okay.
Yeah, the old dude who owned the house. But if you look him up again, Harris Yulin, an IMDb that's about 3 miles long, was in absolutely everything.
Oh, that guy.
That's never really had his own TV series, but was a supporting actor in a ton of things and turned in a ton of really great performances, including, like I said, Duet, which I watched last night after hearing about his death, and yeah, I mean he's in Veep, Murphy Brown, Billions, pretty much everything, and just one of these guys who is just a working actor his whole life. And Nikita, Law and Order, that kind of thing. But again, take a look at his IMDb, Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Pick out your favorite Harris Yulin thing and rewatch it, because, like I said, just did a lot of really great work, and like I said, whether you knew his name or not, he will be missed. So
here you go.
Nicely said.
Rest in peace. Yeah, that's fine. His face didn't pop in my head when you said all that stuff, and then you showed us the picture.
Yeah, no, and again, like I said,
he's
in both Ghostbusters. He's the judge in both Ghostbusters. I mean, it's he's been in tons and tons of things. It's just one of these guys that's just kind of everywhere, but was never the lead guy. So, yep. Yeah.
Cool. Not cool. Rest in peace.
Rest in peace. 84 years.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, there you go. That's right on the edge.
Did a lot of good work.
Good run.
Did a lot of good work.
Yeah.
So,
but cool. Okay. Next week
we'll have a show.
Big stuff.
We'll have a show.
And thanks for listening.
Thanks for listening.
Thanks for listening.